Welcome to The Terrible Take, a daily segment telling Steelers Nation what's on our mind.
Hi, I'm Melanie Friedlander, and welcome to my Terrible Take, coming at you every Sunday, courtesy of Steelers Depot. With this week's loss of wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster for the season with a shoulder injury, the Steelers signed wide receiver Anthony Miller to likely play in the slot, a role he served for the Chicago Bears and briefly for the Houston Texans. So let's get to know our new pass catcher. As a student at Christian Brothers High School, his speed made him a wide receiver, but he was a true renaissance man, also playing quarterback, running back, cornerback, and even defensive end. He walked on at University of Memphis and redshirted his first 2 seasons, the second year due to a right shoulder injury that required surgery. Once he saw the field in his third year, he started 30 of 38 games where he caught 238 catches for 35.90 yards and a 15.1 average, and 37 touchdowns. He also added 31 carries for 148 yards with a 4.8 average and 3 rushing touchdowns. He graduated from Memphis with career, single-season, and single-game records for catches, receiving yards, and touchdown catches. In his rookie season with the Bears, Miller logged 33 catches on 54 targets for 423 yards and 7 TDs, and got that done with only 4 games as a starter and while dealing with a nagging injury. He had a left shoulder dislocation early in the season that hampered him the entire year, and eventually underwent repair in the offseason. He attacked his rehab and returned for his second year ready to go. He caught 9 passes for 148 yards on the Thanksgiving Day game against the Lions and had another 118 yards receiving in the Week 15 matchup. His second season ended with a recurrent shoulder injury that he called a freak accident when his shoulder was struck by an opponent's helmet during a kick return when he was filling in for an injured Cordarrelle Patterson. He underwent repeat surgery in the offseason and returned for training camp for what would be his final season with the Bears. Coming in as a former second-round draft pick, Miller brings some maturity to the wide receiver room at 27 years of age. He seems to have a strong relationship with his family as well as his local church, and has had to grind and fight for a roster spot as a walk-on, so he knows that nothing's given. He will also serve as inspiration for the player he will try to replace, having recovered from the same shoulder injury. One thing to keep in mind on the injury front is an injury he sustained in a preseason game this year, which was reported as a slight shoulder dislocation. Given his history of right shoulder surgery for a labral tear during college following a full dislocation, this could just be some minor shoulder instability. Based on reports, it sounds more like a subluxation or partial dislocation was the recent issue. He missed the rest of the preseason and returned for Week 3. He seems healthy again at this point, and I'm sure the Steelers medical staff evaluated him carefully. According to Texans head coach David Culley, Miller was released from Houston because wide receiver Danny Amendola was returning from injury, and the team only had room for 1 slot receiver on the roster, and his health was not the issue. A lot of Steelers fans have been puzzled this week, as Akella Witherspoon, the DB the team acquired for added depth in exchange for a 5th-round draft pick, was held out of practice for a coach's decision. We never got any additional information, but it sure feels like that 5th-round pick wasn't well spent. Well, I have good news that might bring some balance to the equation. If you consider that the Texans gave the Bears a 5th-round pick for Anthony Miller, we could look at this signing as breaking even from the Witherspoon trade. Personally, I'm looking forward to seeing what Miller can add to the Steelers' offense. I predict good things. Thanks for listening to my take. Please follow me on Twitter @GirlSurgeon.
Be sure to follow us at SteelersDepot.com and check out episodes of The Terrible Take every day at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And check out The Terrible Podcast with myself and Alex Kozora every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.